bilateral meeting with the President of Madagascar in Abu Dhabi on the second day of his UAE visit. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the World Government Summit in Abu Dhabi. Prime Minister hailed India and chanted the Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas mantra. The Prime Minister said India's effort remains to be Vishwa Bandhu, Vishwa Mitra. And in a short while from now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the largest Hindu temple in the Gulf nation. All eyes on the inauguration of the BAPS Swaminarayan Temple in Abu Dhabi in a short while from now. And let's now take you to the Divya Bhavya temple in Abu Dhabi. Now, the plan initially was for this temple to be built. 2 acres of land were initially given for it, then 15 acres, then another 5 acres, and now 27 acres of land have been given for this divine temple that will be inaugurated in just a short while from now. And what a unique temple this promises to be. A spokesperson for the Swaminarayan Sampradaya said that a Muslim king donated land for a Hindu temple where the lead architect is a Catholic Christian, the project manager is a Sikh, the foundational designer a Buddhist, the construction company a Parsi group, and the director comes from the Jain tradition. This is a temple of harmony that comes up in Abu Dhabi. This is also the largest Hindu temple in the region. The temple was built by the Swaminarayan Sanstha. It's built and spread over 27 acres of land. The temple complex is on 13.5 acres of land that was gifted by Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the president of the United Arab Emirates in 2019. And for the latest ground reports, I quickly want to take you across to Abu Dhabi, to that temple, where I'm told the atmosphere is absolutely electric and so full of devotion. India Today's Akshita Nandagopal now joins us from Ground Zero. Akshita, take it away. Tell us what's happening just ahead of the Pran Pratishtha and the arrival of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Well, Gaurav, we're awaiting the Prime Minister's arrival, expected any moment now, but we're right now inside the temple. One level above us is where the temple is. So let me just quickly show you these images of the beautiful temple. We simply can't get enough of the carvings. You can see it all around me as well. And every single part of this temple brought together with so much thought, with so much precision. It all has a message. And I heard you, Gaurav, referring to this earlier as a temple of harmony. That's truly the message that they're attempting to send right now. And even as we're showing you these beautiful images, I'm standing at a level where you've got water all around me. And the reason for that, so you have this backdrop and then the temple there. The reason for that is this is meant to represent a ghat of sorts. So what they're saying is, you've got the Ganga flowing on the side. This is supposed to be representative of the Varanasi Ghat. So it's a beautiful setting, and it's just slightly cooled down now. It's been an extremely hot day here in Abu Dhabi, but now with the weather cooling down, the Prime Minister is expected any moment now. Let's speak to also some of the people here who've had such an active role in bringing this entire temple to life to ensure that this dream of theirs becomes a reality. I have with me Professor Yogi Trivedi also. Welcome to India Today. I know you've been very actively playing a part in building this temple. What does it mean to you now that you see it complete? Now you know that the Prime Minister will be coming and inaugurating it.
I think it's important to note that I'm just one of thousands of volunteers who have come together. And more importantly, I think the beauty of this temple is that it's not just for one Hindu community. What I mean by that, there's no Sampradayavad here. It's not just for followers of the Swaminarayan Sampradaya or just for Vaishnavas or just for Shaivas. It's a home for Hindus from across the region. When you go inside, you'll see 7 different garbhagritas, and in each of those shrines you will notice, that there's a murti from a different part of India. So people who have come here in the diaspora, who live here in the Emirates, will find a place of worship that they can call home. Jagannath Bhagavan, Shri Ramakrishna, Radha Krishna Dev, Shri Sitaram Parivar. So you will see an entire sort of amalgamation, a union, a confluence. The word that you hear being thrown around a lot, and we were talking about it just a few minutes ago, harmony.
Exactly.
And that harmony is at so many different levels. You see harmony not just between Arabic Sanskriti and our Hindu Sanatan Sanskriti, but you also see it within the Hindu Sanskriti with all these different sort of sampradayas and sects coming together and finding a place that they can call home, where they can, for the first time in 450 years. So if I can give your viewers a quick history lesson, for 450 years, Hindus have been a part of this region. And they've never had a place where they can call their house of worship in this way, that has these beautiful spires and dhajadans and dhajas and kadashes and shikhars. And so now with pride, with humility, with a sense of acceptance in this homeland, they can say we can come here and pray as proud Hindus.
It's truly amazing. You summed it up beautifully. Thank you very much for joining us here on India Today. Let me show you around as well, show our viewers a glimpse of this temple. I'm sure many of them are planning to visit very soon as well. But I have the honor of being here before the Prime Minister arrives to show you what exactly it looks like. These carvings, each of which tells a story. You've got saints, and what's very, very interesting about this temple is that you'll see no other temple in the world perhaps that's got carvings of camels, that's got carvings of even sheikhs, because they've essentially also kind of interpreted different stories of the Gulf. There's even a carving of the Burj Khalifa. I wish I could show that to you, but that's on the top tier of the temple, which has been closed off now due to security reasons. But this entire area, you can see how beautiful the carvings look. You've got several seers all being represented here in different formats. And, I've noticed several familiar faces, several familiar monuments that have all been put up here, and all of this made by hand. And I'll flip it around to show you who are the men and women who made this possible. These there are the men and women. All of them will get a chance to, in fact, meet with Prime Minister Modi shortly. He's going to be walking by this entire stretch, and all of them will get a chance to meet with the Prime Minister. We see this very often. The Prime Minister makes it a point to ensure that whatever hard work, the blood, sweat and tears, the toil that's gone into this kind of a setting, this kind of a beautiful monument is also recognized. So all of these men will get a chance to meet with the Prime Minister shortly. He's going to interact and, of course, take that photo up with them. Then you have these children there as well. A handful of them who get the lucky chance of meeting the Prime Minister. Now, interesting to note that these are kids who've been handpicked. Why? Because they have also had a very active role in the construction of this temple. Every Sunday, they were telling us, on the weekend when they get off from school, they'd ensure that they also step in, help with crafting the temple. And there you've got all of them here also ready with their welcome to the Prime Minister. I heard them rehearsing earlier. For them, obviously, and their families, this is a huge, huge deal, because they're going to be recognized for all of their hard work by the Prime Minister. So the temple is all set. You can see that the lighting also is ready. It's absolutely glorious to look at come nightfall, because you'll see, of course, the lighting highlighting all of the carvings in the temple premises, and it's beautifully lit up in just a bit. The fact that you have the Prime Minister coming here, the fact that you have the Prime Minister spending a good 3 hours in this very premises is in fact something that tells you how crucial a moment this is for India. And let me get you more voices as well about the preparations that are underway, what we can expect for 3 hours. Thank you for joining us on India Today. I see that you're very, very busy, so I'll just take a few moments of your time. The Prime Minister is going to be here for almost 3 hours.
Yes, it's very.
So what can we expect really?
Yeah, so when the Modi ji will enter the premises, and then you can see when he's coming. As you know, it's a Ganga Ghat we have made. Amphitheater is here. So there are kids sitting there and they are going to, from last 6 months, they are preparing something like, the whatever leftover pieces of marbles are there. So they have polished it, colored it, and they have written some messages on that. Okay. So they want to gift it to Modi ji, and he wants Modi ji to write something for them, give some message to him. So they are waiting there. Here you can see the different communities people are there. They are sitting and just waiting for Modi ji to just greet them, Okay. And afterwards, Modi ji will go to the Mandir, and from the Mandir he is going to go to Assembly Hall and he is going to address the invitees.
Amazing. So the Pran Pratishtha, that's been happening from the morning?
Yeah, it is happening in the morning. Pran Pratishtha, yeah.
Okay, so what you're going to see, and thank you very much for joining us in India today, what you're going to be seeing is the Prime Minister walking along the stretch. And I'll just show you quickly because we'll walk along. There are, of course, several restrictions because the SPG is essentially taken over here. So there's a very small area for the media really to walk by. But I'm going to just cut across and show you what the entrance looks like as much as we can because, like I said, we've been closed off in this area. But you can see there, that is the entry point. There's a red carpet that's been put out. You can see now several people dressed in traditional attire standing along the sides to welcome the Prime Minister. He's going to be walking along that area, climbing up the stairs to come to this level. He will then take a full round around the temple where he's going to be meeting with these batches also that we just showed you. And then he'll make his way further up to the main temple complex. There is going to be a small puja also that's conducted. But after that, you can also watch out for the Prime Minister's address, which will happen in the Assembly Hall. This is a temple that has a capacity to hold about 10,000 people. Today, there's only a very select few who have had the honor of being here, of being invited also for this ceremony, including several celebrities, the likes of Akshay Kumar, Vivek Oberoi, actor Mumtaz. All of them are also here right now for their unveiling, and they will, of course, be part of the Prime Minister's address. Singer Sonu Nigam is someone who was also here, who I caught up with 2 days ago. They're all, of course, extremely excited. And the significance of this building, this is perhaps a structure that sums up all of the progress that we've made as far as India-UAE ties are concerned, because this has become a reality because of the fact that both governments have worked actively, cooperated on all fronts possible, and that is something that we must recognize. That as much as the Modi government has been focusing on bringing this dream alive or making this moment a reality, the UAE government has been actively providing all possible support, 100% assistance, and that's why you see this building standing tall right now. It's a huge temple, the biggest really in this area, there's no doubt about that, and it's going to give a chance for people from all walks of life to come here and offer prayers. For many others, this no doubt is going to become a huge tourist spot as well. So as I get you this detailed ground report, I'm going to hand it back to Gaurav to take us through all the other elements really that we want to talk about, where we talk about the BAPS Hindu Mandir and the features. These are the kids who have the honor of meeting with, in fact, Prime Minister Modi. He will be walking by here as well. And let's, in fact, try to pass on the mic to some of them. And if they can speak to us in English right now, we'll just get this through to them. Hi, how are you feeling about this temple? You had a big role, I hear, to also make this come alive.
I'm very excited about this mandir because today it was the grand opening of this mandir and it was Murti Pratishtha. So we are very excited because from now the mandir is going to be very good. I loved it.
Okay, you're going to get a chance to meet with the Prime Minister. Yes. What's your message to him?
My message to him is that we all will keep spreading peace, love and harmony all throughout the world.
Your message?
My message is that I would love that he visit this mandir again.
Okay, great. That's a lovely message. So he's telling everyone, please come and visit this temple. So those are the children who I spoke to a bit earlier. Now we're restricted from going that side. So we'll get you more such conversations that I had with people who are here, with the dignitaries who attended. Like I said, there are several celebrities also who've been invited for this event, and they're thrilled to be here. Many of them were part of the Pran Pratishtha of the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya, and now they're here at the BAPS Hindu Mandir. I know there are a lot of comparisons being drawn between that temple and that, which we'll come to in just a bit. But let me play out for you first an exclusive conversation that I had with actor Vivek Oberoi. Vivek Oberoi joining us here in India today. You're here in Abu Dhabi. What brings you here? You've seen the temple, you told me.
Beautiful, incredible temple. I've come here many times before. I've had the opportunity, the good fortune to do seva in this mandir while it was being constructed. But every time I come, it fills me with new joy. And BAPS, the organization that has built this, has done this seva at 1,200 places in the world. But I have to say that in the desert sun, the way this shines, it's a shining example of a bridge between two countries, to religions, to people.
You've had the privilege of being in Ayodhya for the Ram
That's
Mandir
right.
Pran Pratishtha.
That's right.
You're here now for the
I feel
unveiling
very
of this
blessed. I feel
temple.
very, very blessed to be there because the creation of historic temples like this are milestones that you can measure your life by. You know, you can say that I was living, I was there, I was present in the decade when Ram Mandir was created, when the first Mandir, Hindu Mandir in an Islamic country was created. These are symbols of peace, of harmony, of togetherness. There are political conversations around Hindu, Muslim, etc., back home post Ram Mandir. But this is the biggest answer to that. We
Do
are
you
in
think
an
this sends out a
Islamic
message
country.
of harmony more than anything
Absolutely. I think that the government of UAE, His Highness, the Sheikh, they have to be commended, they have to be appreciated for the largeness of heart, for their generosity, for their contribution towards this mandir and to make it a reality along with Modi ji.
I know you're not a foreign affairs expert or a strategic expert, but I have to ask you, what do you
might
think is the
surprise you.
significance? Great. What do you think is the significance of having this kind of a massive temple in the UAE, in the Middle East?
Well, it has multiple significances. I think one is a cultural significance. Our cultures have been connected for hundreds of years. We've had trade, we've enjoyed relationships. We never translated them into political relationships. The last decade has been exceptional in the translation and the growth of a very strong political bond between our countries, between the UAE and India. The UAE is a great entry point into all of the Middle East. I think that this has already started redefining the relationship between India and the Middle East. So I think it has multiple significances, and this stands as a shining example.
I'm going to have you on my show the next time as a guest. But thank you very much. Thank you. So it's on that level, just above us, that you're going to have the Prime Minister there. He's going to be walking around admiring the temple. He's got 3 hours here, and I think he's made it a point to ensure that he has time here for a detailed schedule, for ensuring that he can really get the beauty and take in the beauty of this temple as well. So for 3 hours, the Prime Minister will walk through the length and breadth of this temple, and besides that, also, of course, interact with all of these people, all of them who've brought this temple to life. Now, as we, in fact, get you all of those updates, and we'll show you also the last-minute preparations that are underway right now. You've got huge security presence here because the Prime Minister is expected here in about 5 to 10 minutes or so. He was supposed to come down at about 4:30. That's what the schedule officially said. So we're running about 20 minutes or so away from schedule, behind schedule right now. There's also a placard that's been put up, and I'm not sure if we can capture that. In fact, it mentions that this temple has been inaugurated by the Prime Minister. It also mentions that the land for this has been given by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed. So that particular board perhaps speaks volumes of what it's taken to bring this temple to life. But there's so much significance in this temple. Why did I refer to it as a temple of harmony earlier? This was, of course, land given by a Muslim ruler. Besides that, the architecture is by a Catholic, by a Christian. You've got, in fact, the foundational design by a Buddhist. The construction firm is a Parsi company. They've ensured, and there's more like this, there are more such anecdotes that really tell you why this is truly a temple of harmony. They've ensured that the messaging here is very important. Yes, you've had temples before in the UAE, but none at this scale or volume. Yes, you've had temples in the UAE, but none with a message like this of harmony. Right as you enter the temple, and I wish I could show it to you, but we're completely closed off here. But right as you enter this temple, in fact, there is a wall of harmony, which is the largest 3D wall in all of UAE, in the United Arab Emirates. So there are several such intricate messagings that are being done. For example, if you look at the top there, the shikars that are on top, there are exactly 7 of them. There are also 7 idols inside. Why is that? Well, the 7 shikars essentially symbolize 7 emirates of the UAE. There are 7 emirates, so they decided to go ahead with 7 shikars. There are 7 idols inside. So it's not just, of course, the Swaminarayan Ji, but also idols, as Professor Yogi Trivedi was telling us at the beginning of this broadcast. You've got idols of Lord Ram and Ma Sita. You've got idols of Lord Ayyappan. You've got Lord Murugan, Lord Kartikeya, as he's known in the north. All of that, Lord Shiva, Parvati, all of them also inside this particular temple. The idea is to ensure that north, south, east, west, you will have everyone inside. All right, first pictures are on screens right now of the Prime Minister, who's just arrived right now at the BAPS Hindu Mandir. He's reached at the venue. He's going to be making his way inside any time now. And these are beautiful pictures, really, and shows you the scale of the temple. The Prime Minister, where I'm standing, will be reaching any moment now. There's a huge security cordon that's been put in place. There are, in fact, there's going to be a very traditional welcome that will be given for the Prime Minister when he enters. There are boys all dressed in traditional costumes waiting to welcome Prime Minister Modi right now. They'll all be there, and as he walks through the red carpet, his first glimpse of the temple is going to be through an eye placed right at the entrance.
यानी कि संवादिता का महोत्सव रखा गया है, उसको सार्थक करे ऐसा एक निदर्शन अभी हम
So what you're seeing right now are images of the Prime Minister making his way inside. There's a wall of harmony right at the entrance of the temple, but this is truly the celebration of festival of harmony that you're seeing right now. The security making their way through, and the Prime Minister moving forward, interacting with, of course, also extremely important dignitaries, people who've had a huge role to play in this temple also coming to life. And there are, of course, the brahmacharis who've been flown in here, who are currently here also to welcome the Prime Minister to be a part of this historic moment in the United Arab Emirates. So the whole of India, no doubt, watching this broadcast closely, knowing full well the meaning, knowing full well the significance of the symbolism of this massive temple coming up amid the sands of Abu Dhabi, amid this desert land. You've got this beautiful temple that no doubt, even if for those who, don't come to the Hindu temple as devotees, they will ensure that they are there for, in fact, just to witness this beautiful, beautiful, breathtaking sight. And they visit this temple because it's become a tourist site of sorts. I can tell you that even before, there were already people who gathered. You will see the Prime Minister shortly entering into the main corridor of the temple. There is a wall of harmony there to welcome the Prime Minister, from which, in fact, he is making his way in. And after that, once he enters in, this is a massive premises. I'm talking about a 27-acre land that's been given for the temple. The temple itself has been built in about 13.5 acres. So around the entire area also, they've beautifully done it up, with each part of it having significance, huge, each part of it sending out that message of harmony, as in fact the volunteers intended all along. This was a dream essentially that's come alive. From 1997, you had in fact the Swaminarayanjis and the brahmacharis talking about this kind of a temple, and now it's become a reality for all of them who've toiled for the last many years. From 2019, when the first foundation stone was laid, to now, these images ensure that, we've come a full circle as far as this temple construction really is concerned. The Prime Minister is expected now to make his way to the temple anytime now. He's, taking his time. He's ensuring that he's also there, taking in the breathtaking images right now of, in fact, the temple as well. So what you're seeing behind me, and that's exactly where the Prime Minister will be walking in from. So we'll ensure that we get you the first frame of the Prime Minister within the temple. He's in the premises, of course. And like I said, it's a massive, massive temple here that has been set up. So he's walking through, enjoying the sights and sounds of this beautiful mandir. And then we'll be walking through the red carpet inside the temple as well. So once he's here, he's going to be meeting with all of those who have played such an integral role in making this temple a reality. And then after that, he will be going up for a very brief ceremony. And then there will be an address by the Prime Minister, we're even hearing that there may be a chance of the Prime Minister actually carving on some of the stones to understand what it really takes to make all of this really come alive, to ensure that all of these carvings and how piece by piece it was brought together to bring this beautiful temple as well together. The Prime Minister will be making his way inside now. In any moment, we're expecting him to be watching the temple from a blue eye that's been created right now, right at the entrance of the temple. That's 2 levels down. And the idea is that when you watch from there, you get that entire breathtaking sight of the temple in one go. So from there, once he sees that, he'll make his way forward, walk up the stairs to the first level where I'm at, and here the Prime Minister will walk along this entire area that's been created almost like a ghat to ensure that, you know, when he's walking by, they get a sense of the kind of divinity, they get the kind of divinity that you would get visiting a temple by the ghats of the Varanasi. So that's the messaging. And you will see, in fact, 3 portions of the entrance of the temple. And when the Prime Minister enters, I'll talk about that because then you'll get a clearer sense of what I'm mentioning here. There are 3 black panels, essentially. The Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati, to show that they're flowing through this particular temple. And those auspicious waters have also been brought here to be a part of the temple inauguration. So the symbolism, the significance of every single stone that's been put as part of this temple is huge and extremely important as well. So the Prime Minister now is expected to make his way to the entrance and he's been, of course, walking through the premises, enjoying several parts even below because there are several attractions there. Like I said, there's a 3D wall that indicates all of the efforts that's gone in and the messaging behind this kind of a temple here in Abu Dhabi. So as in fact we get you all of these live images right now of the Prime Minister making his way inside, this is a moment that is no doubt history in the making, not just for India but also for the United Arab Emirates. Like I said, this isn't the first time that a temple has come up in the United Arab Emirates, but you've never seen a temple of this scale. You've never seen a temple with this much significance of the government saying that, look, we will step up. I'm referring to the UAE government here. We will step up, actively play a role in ensuring that the temple is fully ready also for you. So every volunteer that you talk to says the same thing. They say that, look, the UAE has played an integral role in ensuring that this dream comes alive, which is why in many of the carvings you will see sheikhs also being shown, along with, in fact, the brahmacharis who are part and disciples of Swaminarayan who run the entire foundation right now. So all of that is shown in the carvings, the story of how this building, how this temple actually became a reality. Then you have icons, architectural marvels of the United Arab Emirates like the Burj Khalifa that's actually carved in stone in the temple. So it's like no other temple essentially in that sense. And I know there are a lot of comparisons. This is something I referred to earlier. I know there are a lot of comparisons between this temple and the Ram Mandir. I can tell you that there is no way you can compare the two. Having been to that one and this one, yes, it's made of sandstone. Yes, it's made by hand. So in that sense, there's a similarity. But beyond that, really, you will see that it's completely vastly different. For example, this particular temple has 7 idols inside, 7 different idols that people can come and worship. The idea is to get people from the north, south, east and west of India. And I'm sure everyone who's watching this broadcast right now is also planning, figuring out when they should come and visit this temple. And for, of course, the Indian diaspora here, we're talking about a 3.5 million strong Indian diaspora based in the UAE. And imagine that, with such a strong, with such a big Indian diaspora population, for 34 years, till 2015, you didn't have an Indian Prime Minister who actually came down to the UAE to better ties. And that's why from 2015 to 2024, the fact that you've seen this massive focus on bettering India-UAE ties has translated to what you see next to me, to this very building here, to this temple. So it's indicative really of diplomacy. It's indicative of bettering relations between two countries. It's also importantly indicative of harmony, which is the message that they want to constantly send out, both India and UAE. So much so that the United Arab Emirates, a delegation in fact of the government, is actually accompanying the Prime Minister to this temple. So they're also going to be here. They're going to be walking up with the Prime Minister. They're going to be admiring the beautiful sights and sounds here of Abu Dhabi. It's in the midst of a desert, essentially, because you have between Abu Dhabi and Dubai this particular temple that's come up. So from the city center, it's about 30 minutes away. But once you come here, there's a sense of tranquil peace, because, you know, just a few years ago, you speak to anyone here and you see all of the videos of the making of this temple. Before this was literally the middle of nowhere, a complete desert and nothing else. There's no development, no structures. And now this entire area has in fact got a messaging and got this sign of being a harmony street. You have in fact a South Indian parish church right opposite this very temple. So the idea is, you have a synagogue also, by the way, on this entire lane. So the idea is for the UAE also to send out a message of tolerance, to send out a message that in a Muslim nation there is a place for this massive Indian diaspora of all faiths, of all cultures, of all traditions to really come together and to be accepted as family here. And that is a message that the Prime Minister also referred to earlier. You had the Prime Minister yesterday at the Airline Modi event where you had 40,000 people attending, speaking about this very temple, saying again what we've been talking about, recognizing the fact that the United Arab Emirates has played a big role in bringing this moment to life. And in fact, even as we get you these images of the Prime Minister as he makes his way to the temple, any moment now he's going to be behind me, walking up that red carpet, walking through this entire area that's a replica of a ghat, talking to young kids who've been working so hard that every weekend that they've gotten besides school, they've been here at the temple trying to do their bit. He'll be talking to the artisans, as is always the case, the Prime Minister making it a point to send out a message of thanks and appreciation to all of the men and women who've made this mandir a reality, who've made this beautiful dream really come true by being a part of ensuring that the carvings are done, by being a part of putting every single brick in place. Then there are people, of course, who've contributed, who've donated to this cause, who had a chance of laying one brick after another just at the beginning when the foundation stone was laid. So they'll get a chance also to interact with the Prime Minister. So it's going to be a beautiful a ceremony, very fitting truly for the BAPS Hindu Mandir, because like I've said, you know, it's all about the symbolism, it's all about the significance, and that's exactly what the Prime Minister is also focusing on when he is a part of this entire, this entire inauguration of the temple. We can tell you also that the Pran Pratishta has also taken place from this morning. You've had pujas by the brahmacharis happening within the temple complex. The main idol is of the Swaminarayan ji, which is usually the case. If you visited the Akshardham temple in Delhi or any of the other BAPS Mandirs, there are about 100 of them across the world. In each of their cases, you will see, in fact, that the main idol is that of the Swaminarayan ji, which is the case here too. But you've got almost 6 other idols also that have been put here in this particular part. So as we continue, of course, getting you all of those updates, and we'll show you also as soon as the Prime Minister arrives here along this red carpet and comes into this particular area. It's going to be a huge moment for BAPS volunteers as well, who've had a big role to play in this moment coming alive. You can hear the music around me. Everyone's waiting with anticipation right now. All the people around who are seated to wait to the Prime Minister, craning their necks to see if he's come right now. At this point, he's made his way inside, but also remember that there will be due protocol followed in the sense that you will see a delegation of the UAE, the United Arab Emirates government, also present with the Prime Minister. So as we get you all of these images and give you a sense of the historic context of this moment and why it's so important to talk about all that's happening, let's take a look at the images also coming in. You've got the Prime Minister there with the brahmacharis. They are in fact walking in right now, but all the brahmacharis are coming accompanying the Prime Minister. They've been repeatedly talking about how this is such a big moment, also saying that, for us, it's all about the synchronization of bringing cultures and traditions together. The Prime Minister, accompanied by the brahmacharis, will be making their way inside any moment now. And as we show you these images also of him interacting so keenly and, of course, with such a candid manner, you can see the affection between them as well. The Prime Minister has been a part of several other such BAPS events, has always spoken rather fondly of the teachings of Swaminarayan ji as well. So this, by that sense itself, is huge. It's monumental, because you got the Prime Minister ensuring that here too he is a part of this kind of a massive event, that here too he takes part in this event in a 48-hour visit to UAE, one that's crucial, filled with bilaterals. The significance and importance that the Prime Minister is giving to this is clearly shown in the fact that 3 hours of a schedule is going to be spent right here in this temple premises, in this temple complex. So all of them are going to be walking through this entire area with the brahmacharis themselves, explaining to the Prime Minister the importance of this moment, explaining to the Prime Minister what every single monument, structure, brick put up here means to them. And that's what really it comes down to, because at the end of the day, you see every part. The moment I entered this temple 2 days ago, the first thing that stood out for me is that in the very entrance of the temple, like I said, you'll have the Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati being shown there with 3 panels where water is flowing, which we'll show you in just a bit. After that, you will have, in fact, as the Prime Minister comes down, you will see black panels with water flowing upward rather than downward, which is very, very unusual, really, for, in fact, for any sort of water body. It's flowing upward to show the progress in life, that you never go from up to down, you go from down to up. So that's the messaging with which they've created those panels. And then you come to the level that I'm in. This is the first level of the temple, where already you'll see all the carvings in place. So it's beautiful to walk by. The idea is that people can come here and meditate as well, because as they've created this ghat-like structure here, the people who come here, the devotees who come here, will get a chance to sit around, to enjoy the beauty around them. And I can tell you that standing atop here, you just can't make out anything else. There's only temple. There's the temple premises, of course, that you see. There's a wall that's been put up, so you don't really see the entire desert or the sense of emptiness that's there around. It's only when you're outside that you actually see it. And the fact that this temple has been brought up in a place where there was literally nothing a few years ago tells you of how much hard work, toil has gone into this very moment, of how much hard work it's taken for us to ensure that this temple becomes a reality. For India, of course, and this is something that's been spoken of repeatedly during the Ram Mandir Pran Pratishtha in Ayodhya, that it was in fact a cultural reawakening of sorts, a civilizational rekindling of sorts. With this kind of a temple, it's a similar message that goes out, except that in the United Arab Emirates, where you have a 3.5 million strong Indian diaspora, there's going to be a lot of focus also on the fact that this diaspora feels embraced. It's not just because, it's largely just a Hindu temple. It's also because it's a message of harmony that's being sent across. It's a message of togetherness, a message of unity, and that's clear in all of the carvings that have been put up here as well. Now, as we in fact show you what the temple looks like, I can tell you that the Prime Minister is expected here any moment. We can hear the announcements being made right now as well. So when he makes his way in, we will get you those first images as well of the Prime Minister. But he is currently with the brahmacharis who run this front right now, who run the temple right now. So for them also, of course, the fact that they extended this invite to the Prime Minister, and you had the Prime Minister accepting it very, very promptly, ensuring that on the second day of his UAE visit, just before he heads to Qatar for another extremely crucial part of the meeting, he is in fact here spending a considerable amount of time. And as the sun sets here in Abu Dhabi, it's absolutely beautiful. And you can see, in fact, that the sun, as it sets down, the lights also come up here, and all of it simply highlighting the architecture of this temple. For the BAPS Mandir really to come together, you've had nearly 7 lakh people working since 2019 to now, since the foundational stone was laid to now. And that's what's made this entire dream come true. That's what's made this temple a reality. These nearly 7 lakh people that we're talking about, whether it's about the building of the temple, whether it's about security or several other measures that were taken, they've all come together from different parts of the world. There are volunteers here who work full-time in India, who work full-time in the UK, who work full-time in America, who've taken a break of about 20, 15 or even a month-long break just to ensure that they can put all of their energy into this temple. So that is the kind of following, the devotion that they have towards their saint, towards Swaminarayan Ji, that has ensured that they can bring this temple to life. And that's what it's taken essentially for so many of them to kind of leave, put aside all of their other priorities and come here. And as the Prime Minister is expected here any moment now, and as he enters in, you can in fact look forward. All right, we're getting you those images, and I'm going to zoom in to that particular spot because you can see a lot of movement there. There you have the brahmacharis also. As in fact the SPG makes its way inside, any moment now, you can catch your first glimpse of Prime Minister Modi admiring the temple premises. When he comes in, he is going to be first taking in the splendor of the temple architecture. I can tell you that when you stand way off at the very end of that lane, at the very end of the corridor, that's the first beautiful sight you get. And there you have the Prime Minister walking in, being briefed also about the significance of every part of this temple. You can see the Prime Minister in conversation, also inquisitively asking about each point. And that's what I was referring to right there, that the Prime Minister will stand behind that blue eye. From there, he will look at the temple in all of its entirety, in all of its grandeur. It's supposed to be the best view that you can get of the temple. Behind him, those 3 panels, that is Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati. The idea is to send out a message that amid these holy waters, a temple has risen in the desert of Abu Dhabi. So you have the Prime Minister standing there, understanding the significance of each of these, and you can see him taking a close, in fact, look at that white structure that's been put up, symbolizing an eye, from where he looked at the temple as well. And there you have him standing there right in the center of the temple corridor, waving at people also briefly there. There is an area there where several volunteers have gathered, hoping, of course, to catch a glimpse of the Prime Minister. So he's making it a point to wave to all of them along the entire corridor. You see children also dressed up in fact, beautiful traditional attires, all welcoming the Prime Minister here to the BAPS Mandir. So you've got the Prime Minister standing there, getting a briefing from, in fact, the brahmachari there, and then they're going to make their way up, make their way into the temple. All right, they've started walking closer and closer, and the significance on each side of the Prime Minister, you see water flowing. I explained this to you earlier as well. The messaging is to ensure that, in fact, the Prime Minister, that everyone who enters the temple feels like they're feeling a miracle of sorts, that you've got water, the rivers flowing through amid the sands of Abu Dhabi, amid the desert. So it's a beautiful message that's being sent across. And this is exactly why I've been repeatedly saying that every part of the temple has a sense of symbolism attached to it. So you can see the Prime Minister right now also, in fact, entering, walking through at this point. And as we get you these images, we're going to show you those live images there. The Prime Minister is walking in deep conversation. He's going to be coming up to this particular level, and when he's here, we'll give you, of course, a clear view, the first view of the Prime Minister as he walks through this entire corridor. He's going to be greeting all of the people who've been a part of this project for the last many years. He's going to be greeting all of the children, the lucky ones who've been chosen to be a part of this event, where they're going to be showing essentially the Prime Minister all the work that they've done with the leftover marble blocks from this temple. I don't know if you can hear it, but the music chants have started here, which is essentially reverberating through the temple. And the energy here is unprecedented. Everyone who's gathered here has started clapping together along with the music that's playing around here, the beats in the temple. And the Prime Minister is walking up the stairs right now along the red carpet. He is going to be spending a considerable amount of time. Everyone who's gathered here has got their phones out. They're all trying to catch that one picture of Prime Minister Modi. For all of them who've toiled so hard for this moment, who've toiled so hard for this temple, they are going to, of course, feel that their hard work has paid off, because the Prime Minister will be recognizing their efforts. The Prime Minister will be there to thank them, to congratulate them for all the work that they have done so far. You can see also that the Prime Minister is going to be entering, and there you have it, the first images of the Prime Minister just next to me, in fact, at the same level that we are standing with a kalash. This has in it holy water, which he is now pouring down into that particular area. So you've got that fountain, and that's what I was referring to, where the water flows upwards, because the messaging is to ensure that life moves upwards. You never go down in life, you go from down to up. So all of the water moves upward. That's the Prime Minister there. You can see behind me. He's walking in at this point. He is going to be coming here in just a brief bit to also interact with the children and everyone else. But first, he's making his way up to the temple as well. But a beautiful, beautiful moment that you just witnessed, the significance of which is huge. You've got these replicas of sorts of ghats that's been created, but to actually make it holy, to actually make it mean something for people who come here from across the world, many of whom can't make it to India. They feel, in fact, the importance and how auspicious a moment like this is, because you had the Prime Minister emptying holy water into the water that's been placed here, the ghat-like creation along the sides of the temple. The Prime Minister going up now to the temple, and in fact, as we get to all of these live images, he's going to be here next to me any moment now to also interact with all the children, to also interact with all the artisans. Now up there, the Prime Minister is currently in the temple, and he is going to be taking part in several rituals, but first, of course, taking in the sights of that beautiful temple as well. Yogi, why don't you speak to us here about the significance of what the Prime Minister just did, pouring holy water, yes, into the fountains, which will then continue to take it around. So you get a sense of really being by the Ganges here.
Exactly, and I think it's an ancient Hindu ritual of pouring the water and the oblation that you're performing there. But what this does is symbolically, it sort of ties together the sacred geography of India. You think of Hindu, the Ganga, the sacred Hindu rivers such as the Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati, and that is sort of brought in to the UAE. So now those rivers and the water in those rivers by the Prime Minister of India is now flowing on this campus. So sort of tying together the two countries in a sort of sacred sense, if I may.
Can you explain to us also what happens next? You have the Prime Minister in the temple. So are we going to, the Pran Pratishtha is done?
Pratishtha was done this morning.
The Prime Minister
The
now...
Prime Minister will now go up and he will perform an Arti of the Murtis in the Mandir, the sacred deities in the Mandir, alongside His Holiness Mahant Swami Maharaj, who is the Guru of the BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha and also is the administrative lead.
Okay. Thank you very much, Yogi, for explaining that to us. So what you're going to see is an Arti being conducted. So small puja that will happen within the temple premises. I've told you already how, in fact, there are 7 murtis inside, 7 idols inside. So the Prime Minister will be offering prayers at each of these idols and then will come out. So he's going to be there for some time, taking in the breathtaking sights and sounds. Just 2 days ago, I was inside the temple. If you think it looks beautiful from outside, you must see what it looks like on the inside as well. Completely made of marble, and in each corner you have beautiful idols that have been put up, and that gives you a sense of really how much effort, the work that's gone into making this temple what it is today. Inside, it's completely made of marble, and the kind of work that's been done, it's also influenced a lot by Arabian design. So it's not completely just Indian desi designs or a temple design as we're very used to seeing. You can hear the music also as people are also chanting along. There's music here, everyone's clapping together, feeling the energy of, in fact, what we're seeing right now within the temple. Now, in just some time from now, once the Prime Minister completes his rounds inside the temple and then also completes the artis, he's going to be making his way outside to kind of admire the beauty of the temple, and then will meet everyone who's had a role to play in seeing this temple becoming a reality as well. So as in fact we get you all of these images right now, the Prime Minister, you can hear people clapping because the Prime Minister is walking around the temple right now, taking in the beauty of the architecture of the temple. There's a lot of cheering here because the people here, the artisans who've gathered, have got their first glimpse of Prime Minister Modi. So they're all, clapping and welcoming the Prime Minister to Abu Dhabi in their own way. So as we get you, in fact, these images of the Prime Minister walking around in the temple, I'm going to slip into a very, very short break. We'll be right back, getting you all the live updates of the Prime Minister's visit right now to the beautiful BAPS Hindu Mandir. He's just meters away from me, so we'll get you those first images live on India Today on the other side of a very, very short break.
जस्सी से साहित्य आज तक कोलकाता में लाइव। फ्री एंट्री के लिए अभी रजिस्टर करें www.aajtak.in/साहित्य पर या मिस्ड कॉल दीजिए 9310330033 पर।
गम है कोई तो दम मारो यारो, दम की दुआ से गम भी खुशी है, चूर नशे में ये जिंदगी है। हरि ओम हरि, हरि ओम हरि।
मिलिए उषा उत्थुप से साहित्य आज तक कोलकाता में लाइव। फ्री एंट्री के लिए अभी रजिस्टर करें www.aajtak.in/साहित्य पर या मिस्ड कॉल दीजिए 9310330033 आनंद किरकिरे से साहित्य आज तक कोलकाता में लाइव। फ्री एंट्री के लिए अभी रजिस्टर करें www.aajtak.in/साहित्य पर या मिस्ड कॉल दीजिए 9310330033 पर।
झूमे घुमड़ घुमड़ बेरी घुड़क घुड़क मेरी मन हिचको राले रे।
मिलिए मामे खान से साहित्य आज तक कोलकाता में लाइव। फ्री एंट्री के लिए अभी रजिस्टर करें www.aajtak.in/साहित्य पर या मिस्ड कॉल दीजिए 9310330033 पर।
देश के किसान हैं, खेत मजदूर हैं और अपनी मांगों के लिए संघर्ष करते हैं। तो माननीय प्रधानमंत्री से अपील करते हैं, फिर मैं तो रोज अपील कर रहा हूं कि आपका बोलते हृदय बड़ा है, बड़ा हृदय कीजिए और हमें एमएसपी खरीद की गारंटी का कानून बना के दीजिए। जिस तरह से अनुराग ठाकुर जी बोल रहे हैं कि इनका मांग पत्र चार्ट बड़ा होता जा रहा है, ये बात नहीं है। हमने पहले दिन से वही मांग पत्र रखा, उसी पे काम कर रहे हैं। जैसे बोला जा रहा है कि अगर एमएसपी खरीद की गारंटी का कानून बनाना है तो उसके लिए कमेटी आवश्यक है। तो हम बताना चाहेंगे, आपको कल भी बताया था कि जो सीएसीपी की रिपोर्ट के अनुसार देश के 23 फसलों के ऊपर सरकार पूरी तरह कैलकुलेट कर एमएसपी 23 फसलों का ऐलान करती है। तो हमने मंत्री महोदय के समक्ष ये बात रखी कि आप बताइए, आप ये अनाउंसमेंट कैलकुलेशन से कर रहे हैं? बोले हाँ। तो हमने बोला इसके ऊपर लीगल गारंटी कानून बना दीजिए। हमें तो सिक्योरिटी चाहिए भी, जो एमएसपी का ऐलान आपने किया वो कम रेट पर मंडी में ना बिके। तो अब वो कमेटी बना के हमारा मसला ठंडे बस्ते में डालना चाहते हैं।
स्थिति के बारे में लोग आलोचना करें, बल्कि हमें यह कोशिश करना चाहिए कि हम इसके सारे पक्षों का ध्यान रखें और उस पर चर्चा करें। दूसरी बात कि किसानों को इस बात का भी ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा, खास करके वैसे संगठनों के नेताओं को जो किसान संगठन से जुड़ करके इस तरह की बातें कह रहे हैं, तो आम जनजीवन को बाधित न करे, आम जनजीवन किसी तरह से परेशान न हो। एक सामान्य लोगों के लिए कठिनाई पैदा करना, मैं समझता हूं कि इससे समस्या का समाधान के बजाय समस्या और अधिक उलझती है। इसलिए मैं किसान संगठनों से यही आज भी निवेदन करूंगा कि जो बातचीत का माहौल है उसको बनाए रखें और बातचीत करते हुए हम समाधान का रास्ता मजबूत करें।
सर, आप समाधान की बात कर रहे हैं, लेकिन यहाँ पर विपक्षी पार्टी हो, राहुल गांधी हो, वो लगातार ये कह रहे हैं कि किसान के सब पक्ष में है, वो जो आंदोलन कर रहे हैं उसके भी पक्ष में है, तो यहाँ राजनीति भी बहुत ज्यादा तेज हो गई। लगता है ऐसे माहौल में शांति हो पाएगा? देखिए,
मैं किसान संगठनों को यही कहूँगा कि किसी राजनीति से प्रेरित होकर नहीं, बल्कि किसान और किसान परिवारों की चिंता लगातार सरकार की है और करेगी। किसान संगठनों को इस बात का ध्यान रखते हुए कि हम लगातार इस बात को ध्यान में रखें कि असामान्य स्थिति पैदा करके किसी का समाधान नहीं हो सकता।
गोपाल राय हैं हमारे साथ बातचीत करने के लिए। सर, क्या नजर आ रहा है आपको इस प्रदर्शन के जरिए?
देखिए, जिस तरह से अगर याद होगा पिछली बार जब किसान आंदोलन हुआ था, देश के माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने खुद तीनों जो काले कानून थे उसको वापस लिया था और किसानों से ये वादा किया गया था कि एमएसपी को जो है गारंटी कानून जो है उनको दिया जाएगा। आज सत्र जो है संसद का खत्म हो चुका है, सरकार चुनाव की तरफ बढ़ गई है, लेकिन किसानों से जो वादा किया गया था वो उनको धोखा मिला है। आज मजबूरी में किसान अपनी आवाज को दोबारा उठाने के लिए मजबूर हुए और वो दिल्ली की तरफ आने का उन्होंने 13 तारीख का ऐलान किया है। लेकिन जिस तरह से सरकार भारतीय जनता पार्टी की जिस तरह से उनको दमन करने की तैयारी कर रही है, वो अंग्रेजों के राज के भी मतलब हदों को पार कर रही है। जिस तरह से सड़कों पर दीवार खड़ी की जा रही है, ये तो कभी नहीं हुआ। मुझे लगता है कि ये दरिंदगी, इस तरह के दमन का कोई स्वरूप तो हमें नहीं लगता है कि भारत में कभी भी किसी शासन तंत्र में अपनाया गया हो।
आपका जॉय भारत का जॉय, जॉय ई बाइक। को प्रेजेंटेड बाय ग्रीन लैम लैमिनेट्स, कुछ मेरा कुछ तुम्हारा। को पावर्ड बाय पारुल यूनिवर्सिटी, वडोदरा, गुजरात।
मूर्ति गुरुवर्य शास्त्री जी महाराज, गुरुवर्य प्रमुख स्वामी महाराजौ इति भगवत स्वरूपाणाम अर्चन वंदन पूजनाख्यं कर्म अहं करिष्ये।
वैदिक संकल्प के बाद अब वैश्विक आरती में सम्मिलित होने की क्षण आ गई है। यह आरती अभूतपूर्व होगी क्योंकि यहाँ परम पूज्य महंत स्वामी महाराज एवं माननीय श्री प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के साथ विश्व में फैले BAPS के 1500 से अधिक मंदिरों में एक साथ आरती होगी और विश्व में फैले लाखों सत्संगियों भी अपने घर मंदिर में इसी क्षण आरती की।
Okay, so on your screens right now are the beautiful images of the Arti that's underway. Right next to the Prime Minister is Mahant Swami Maharaj, who is the head right now of BAPS, of the Swaminarayan Foundation. Also with him is Sadhu Brahm Vihari Divas and Ishwar Charan Swami, all of the most senior most heads, senior most brahmacharis here who are a part of the ceremony. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's absolutely beautiful. Everyone has come together to chant right now. Everyone chanting in unison as the Arti is taking place inside the temple. And one level down, and there's music that's happening. There's in fact religious slogans being raised and everyone's chanting and clapping along. So the energy, the vibe here is absolutely beautiful. But inside you've got the Arti taking place. You can see the Prime Minister completely steeped in devotion right now. They've unveiled the murtis, which looks absolutely beautiful with that setting of complete marble inside the temple. Right next to the Prime Minister is Mahant Swami Maharaj. Let's cut across live now to what's happening.
श्री स्वामीनारायण भगवान की जय। श्री अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण भगवान की जय। श्री पद्मावती श्रीनिवास भगवान की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ भगवान की जय। श्री सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। श्री उमापति शंकर भगवान की जय। स्वामी श्री अय्यप्पा महाराज की जय। श्री गुणातीतानंद स्वामी महाराज की जय। श्री भगत जी महाराज की जय। श्री शास्त्री जी महाराज की जय। श्री योगी जी महाराज की जय। श्री प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज की जय। श्री महंत स्वामी महाराज की जय।
अथ मंत्र पुष्पांजलि। अब हाथ की अंजलि में हम पुष्प रखेंगे। ओम हरिः ओम् जग्नेन यज्ञमयजन्त देवास्तानि धर्माणि प्रथमान्यासन्न तेहनाकं महिमानः सचन्त यत्र पूर्वे साध्याः सन्ति देवाः ॐ स्वामिनारायणाय विद्महे अक्षरपुरुषोत्तमाय धीमहि तन्नः सहजानन्दः प्रचोदयात् ॐ श्री अक्षरपुरुषोत्तमाय भक्तमण्डलसहिताय सर्वेभ्यो देवेभ्यश्च इमं मन्त्रपुष्पाञ्जलिं समर्पयामि। अब माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री
पुष्पांजलि के बाद
अर्पण करने के लिए
मोहन स्वामी महाराज के हाथ में रखे हुए पुष्पों को लेकर माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री मोदी जी मंदिर में विराजमान अक्षर पुरुष।
So what you're seeing right now are images of the pushpanjali that's underway. You just heard that beautiful Arti that took place as everyone, including the Prime Minister, was seen chanting along, completely engaged in the moment and mesmerized really by the beauty around him very clearly. And along with him you have, of course, Mahant Maharaj Swami next to him and the senior most Mahants and Yogis with him. Soon after the Arti you had the chanting of all of the lords, the gods, murtis who are inside the temple right now. So there are 7 idols, as I mentioned. You've got Lord Ram and Sita Ma, you've got Lord Shiva and Parvati Ma, you've got Lord Ayyappa, you've got Lord Murugan, Lord Kartikeya as he's known in the north, Lord Jagannath. So these are just a few. Essentially the messaging is that idols and gods, Hindu gods who are worshipped in the north, in the south, the east and west, everyone finds a place in this temple right now. So it's a beautiful message. You heard that in the Arti as well. The Prime Minister now going up to the idol, also to the Murti, and offering flowers there, seeking blessings as he does so. Amid all of the chanting, the Arti that's just happened, you've just had the Pushpanjali also being concluded. Also, aside from really the puja that you're witnessing, the Arti that you're witnessing, note really the friendship, the love with which and the reverence with which, the respect with which the Prime Minister also interacts with this Mahant and several others. It's absolutely beautiful to see. And the Prime Minister now making his way out right now with Mahant Maharaj Swami. You've got several others also, the brahmacharis who run the BAPS Foundation, who run the Swaminarayan Foundation present there and offering his prayers there. You've got the Prime Minister making his way out. What a spectacular view of the temple really, with the sun setting down here in Abu Dhabi. You've got the full temple scene in all of its grandeur, in all of its splendor. It's absolutely divine to see, and it's divine to be here in this moment also, soaking in the prayers, soaking in all of the chants that are around me. And the fact that it's happening here in Abu Dhabi, far away from home, far away from India, and yet with the same amount of devotion and divinity, speaks volumes really of what India has achieved in the form of this temple here in the heart of Abu Dhabi. You've got, in fact, now the Prime Minister inside the temple standing with the Mahant Maharaj Swami, a very senior Mahant, of course. And you heard even after the Arti, amid all of the chants at the very end, there was also a mention of Mahant Maharaj, to which, of course, everyone here also started chanting along. So for the people here, this is such a huge moment also, because they're understanding the significance. And there you have that photo right in front of the Murti with Mahant Maharaj Swami, the Prime Minister holding on to his hand with a great deal of affection and respect. And now you can see also the felicitations taking place as the Mahant will be putting this garland on the Prime Minister, thanking him for being a part of this historic moment for them. The Prime Minister, of course, has repeatedly spoken of the great respect he's had for Swaminarayan Ji, the great respect that he has for Mahant Maharaj as well, which is indicative really in these images as the Prime Minister bows down to a deep pranam before the Mahant. And you can see that even that garland, there's something very important to note here, that even in that garland, there's clear messaging seen in that as well, because it's not just a normal floral garland. It looks to me like they're swans placed together. I could be wrong, but we will understand, I'm sure, the importance of that very, very soon. But it's a beautiful garland with a messaging clearly that's being sent out of harmony, of peace. And that is really the message. The Prime Minister very beautifully there, hugging the Mahant as well before making his way out, taking his blessings, again bowing down in his pranam. And it shows you, it speaks volumes really of how much respect the Prime Minister has for the Mahant, of how much respect the Prime Minister has for Swaminarayan Ji as well. And as we show you this 360-degree view of what the temple looks like, the Prime Minister taking a moment or two to also interact with all those who have played such a crucial role in bringing this moment alive, played such a crucial role in ensuring that this temple becomes a reality, and that the Prime Minister is here today to inaugurate it. And at every murti now, you have the Prime Minister entering there to pay his respects to Lord Krishna and taking the blessings of the murti as well. So every murti, every idol that's placed, there's 7 in all, as I told you earlier. The Prime Minister is going there, making it a point to make an offering, and also taking in fact the blessings of the God, offering his respects. You can see also the brahmacharis are also following him, briefing him about the importance of each of these idols. What's very interesting to see, and when you enter this temple, whenever you visit this particular temple, you'll see that in every murti that's placed around the carvings is not just designs but a story that's being told. So you've got in fact some of the stories of Lord Krishna carved out in the form of pictures all across in fact the murti. So very close to that, across the marble that you see, is the stories of Lord Krishna. Similar for Lord Ram, similar for Lord Ayyappa. So it's very interesting to see there's so much of context attached to each corner of this temple that at every point that you go in, there's a story to tell. At every point that the Prime Minister goes, I remember a different anecdote that comes to mind really of what stands out of that part of the temple. The Prime Minister right now moving from one murti to another, from one idol to another, and taking blessings. And as he comes out there, you can see him also getting a briefing about the significance of each of these parts of the temple. In all, there are 7 idols, 7 murtis. There's also 7 shikars, which is representative of the fact that there are 7 emirates of the United Arab Emirates. So there's that touch of the Middle East. There's the touch of, in fact, UAE that's been brought into this temple. It's like I said earlier, nowhere else will you find a temple with a Burj Khalifa actually carved into the temple wall. Nowhere else will you find a temple with, highlights and, infrastructural highlights, infrastructural marvels of UAE carved into the temple. Camels, sheikhs, and the picture of the brahmacharis meeting with the sheikhs, all of that carved into the temple wall as well. So the Prime Minister taking his time, like I said, he's dedicated 3 hours of his schedule to being here at this temple. And behind me also there's a lot of arrangements being made for the security, because you've got the Prime Minister also set to come here soon after he's done in fact offering his prayers at each one of these murtis, at each one of these idols, and of course meeting with all of the brahmacharis there. He's taking his time, he's enjoying the moment. You can see that devotion, the divinity, very similar to really what we witnessed during the Pran Pratishtha of the Ram Mandir, because then too you could see the Prime Minister completely soaked in that moment. It's similar here. You could see it in the Arti as he was watching that idol and he was going ahead and offering his prayers. He was chanting along to all of the prayers being uttered by the priest. And soon after this, once he's done in the temple inside, offering his prayers and of course making offerings in the form of flowers to each of the idols, 7 of them present there, he'll be making his way out. He'll be soaking in the sides, which he's already done. He's taken 1 round around the temple already, but like I said, you can't get enough of it. He's then going to come down and meet all the people who are lined up around me, whether it's the little children here or all of the artisans who've in fact built this temple, who've ensured that all these carvings look absolutely spectacular. You've got more prayers taking place as the Prime Minister is making his way through the temple, offering in fact his prayers at every single idol. And like I said, at every murti, at every point there's a different story to tell, which is why he's taking his time. He's understanding the meaning of each of these points. He's understanding what really all the carvings symbolize, what it signifies. It's taken a lot of hard work for the last many years, since 2019, when the first stone was actually laid here in what was a completely barren desert. They've come a long way, and the Prime Minister recognizing all the effort that's gone into the making of this temple. And that's why he's there right now, ensuring that he spends time with all of the people, the team behind the temple, but also understanding what each stone, each brick, each carving actually stands for, what it actually means. It's a huge moment, of course, for the Indian diaspora here, a 3.5 million strong Indian diaspora here. Many of the people, the volunteers that I've come across, are residents of Abu Dhabi and Dubai, yes, but beyond that there are so many who've come in from overseas. Many of them, of course, from India, from Gujarat, from Maharashtra, from Tamil Nadu and Kerala, who've come here. There are many from the United Kingdom, from the United States, who are also here to be a part of this historic moment, who have in fact for the last 20-30 days at their own expense camped here to ensure that on the day of the inauguration, that this very moment that you're seeing on your screens, they are here to witness. They understand the significance of it, and for them it's a truly, truly blessed moment as well. Remember that in few days from now, while right now you're having the inauguration taking place, in another 2 days is when the temple actually opens up for the public, and it's expected to bring in people from all walks of life. Hindus, yes, who will come here to offer their prayers, but besides that, several others who will come here to just view and be witness to the spectacular architectural marvel that they've pulled off here in Abu Dhabi in this temple. And there are many. We're understanding the footfall could be somewhere around 10,000 people coming together at this temple every single day to witness the beauty of this magnificent mandir that the Prime Minister currently has inaugurated. So once this Arti is done, once you have the Prime Minister completing this pushpanjali, where he's in fact making his offerings at every murti inside the temple, he's going to be making his way out. He's going to be interacting with all of the people here, the artisans as well as the children, and then there's an assembly hall close by within this premises where he is also going to be addressing all of those who've played such a monumental role in making this temple really come alive. This is in all a 27-acre property, so it's a massive, massive temple, 13.5 acres covered in just the temple where I'm standing right now, and the rest, of course, going in ensuring that there's a wall of harmony, in ensuring adequate infrastructure for all the devotees who come together. And you can hear, I don't know if you can hear this, but there are children around me also doing one final round of rehearsals before the Prime Minister makes his way here. He's going to be, in fact, there where the artisans are. So we'll make our way across, in fact, to that particular location as well, so that we're ready for when the Prime Minister comes here. He's going to be interacting with all of the artisans. We'll just go across to that point as I continue getting you all of the images of the Prime Minister here, soaked in devotion, enjoying the moment, enjoying the beauty of this particular temple. And it's here at this point, and we will try to show you also more images, but I can tell you that right now, standing at this particular point, the Prime Minister is going to be coming out now for a photo op outside the temple as well. There's a huge security cover here. There are also representatives from the UAE who are playing, of course, amazing hosts to the Prime Minister, to India. They're here to tracking all of the developments, to also show their entire support for this temple, which has also been seen, of course, in how beautifully this temple has come up. So you've got, in fact, several other dignitaries also who are getting a chance to go ahead and get a darshan right now. I can see, in fact, several people now stepping out as the Prime Minister is all set to come out of the mandir, having completed, of course, the Arti, having completed also offering his prayers. But it's absolutely beautiful to see the respect, the bonhomie, the reverence with which the Prime Minister really addresses these Mahants, addresses, in fact, the Brahmacharis who are part of this temple trust. They've been here for the last many days, the last many weeks, taking part in the preparations. But you can see right now that the briefing is happening again. They're explaining to the Prime Minister the significance of several parts of this architecture as well. You've got Mahant Maharaj with him. You've got several other Swamijis also who are making it a point to stand with the Prime Minister and give a briefing really on what each point of this temple really means. You had, in fact, Sadhu Brahm Vihari Das and Ishwar Charan Swami with the Prime Minister, besides Mahant Maharaj standing with the Prime Minister there, who were part of the Arti. But now as the Prime Minister makes his way out. It's beautiful to see how really he's taking in every single carving. And this is what I was referring to when I was saying that, the Prime Minister is in fact showing so much interest, so much keenness in understanding what exactly those carvings are. Where the Prime Minister is standing right now, it's at that point that you've got several highlights of the story of this temple coming alive, really being shown in the carvings. There are camel carvings there. There are in fact sheikhs, icons of Dubai, of UAE, all of that also at that particular spot. The Prime Minister waving to the crowds right now. You've got him after enjoying an Arti, also standing here along with the Mahanta of the BAPS Hindu Mandir, waving to all of us, the big media contingent here, and to all of the others who have gathered there. So you can hear the sloganeering as the Prime Minister is walking, making his rounds around the temple. I'm going to slip into a very, very short break with these images. We're going to continue getting you all the highlights of the Prime Minister inaugurating this beautiful temple here, being a part of the Arti, soaking in the divinity, and now enjoying the carvings, watching the architectural marvel that's come to life here in the heart of Abu Dhabi. We're going to continue getting you all the live updates. I'm slipping into a very, very short break. We'll be right back.
किताब लिख दूं, सब्र इतना है कि एक अल्फाज भी ना कहूं। एक बार फिर वो वक्त आ चुका है जब मिलना है हमें और आपको। साहित्य के सितारों का महाकुंभ अब होने जा रहा है सिटी ऑफ जॉय कोलकाता में। डेट नोट कीजिए फटाफट।
17 और 18 फरवरी स्वभूमि द हेरिटेज प्लाजा कोलकाता। फ्री एंट्री के लिए अभी रजिस्टर करें www.aajtak.in/साहित्य पर या मिस्ड कॉल दीजिए 9310330033 पर।
साहित्य के सितारों का महाकुंभ अब होने जा रहा है सिटी ऑफ जॉय कोलकाता में। आप सबसे वहां होगी मुलाकात, तो इंतजार किस बात का? तारीख नोट कर लीजिए।
17 और 18 फरवरी स्वभूमि द हेरिटेज प्लाजा कोलकाता। फ्री एंट्री के लिए अभी रजिस्टर करें www.aajtak.in/साहित्य पर या मिस्ड कॉल दीजिए 9310330033 पर। मिलिए जसबीर जस्सी से। साहित्य आज तक कोलकाता में लाइव। फ्री एंट्री के लिए अभी रजिस्टर करें www.aajtak.in/साहित्य पर या मिस्ड कॉल दीजिए 9310330033 पर। ऐप ऑन से साहित्य आज तक कोलकाता में लाइव। फ्री एंट्री के लिए अभी रजिस्टर करें www.aajtak.in/साहित्य पर या मिस्ड कॉल दीजिए 9310330033 पर।
किसान का बेटा ही है जो देश को की सरहदों पर उसकी रक्षा करता है। तो आप किसान की बात क्यों नहीं सुनते? यार हमारे देश की कैपिटल है, अगर कोई वहां पर जाके अपनी बात करना चाहता है तो आप क्यों डरते हैं? अरे बात कीजिए, आपके देश का किसान है, ये वही किसान है जो गांधी जी के साथ तुरा था, ये वही जो इंडियन नेशनल आर्मी बनाई थी जनरल मोहन सिंह, ये वही किसान है। अरे बात सुनिए, ये कोई किसी के दलाल नहीं है, ये किसान है, ये खुद कुर्बानी करते हैं। तो इनके साथ टकराना तो बिल्कुल नहीं चाहिए, किसी को उसका दिमाग खराब होगा जो इनके साथ।
जिस प्रकार से पंजाब सरकार का उसमें उसको उकसाने के लिए लगा लो या उनका अपना आंदोलन बढ़ा लिया उन्होंने अपना। और आज के आप जितने बयान भी देख लो, सारे आम आदमी पार्टी के जो लोग हैं उनके बयान है सारे के सारे। और मैं समझता हूं कि इसके पीछे इस प्रकार की एक पॉलिटिक्स है, आप देख भी रहे सारी के सारी। तो उन लोगों का एक ध्येय है, वास्तविकता में किसान के हित की बात नहीं है। किसान के हित के लिए तो सरकार स्वयं चिंतित है और सरकार काम कर रही है।
the biggest Hindu temple in the Islamic world. Welcome to the BAPS Swaminarayan Temple in Abu Dhabi, a sanctuary of spirituality and cultural convergence nestled in the heart of the United Arab Emirates. Built on a sprawling plot, this architectural marvel boasts a prayer hall, accommodating 3,000 devotees, and much more. Inspired by the traditional Nagar style, the temple rises majestically with its pink Rajasthan sandstone and white Italian marble. 108 feet tall, crowned with 7 spires, each representing a UAE emirate. Meticulously crafted ghats, the representations of the holy rivers adorn the temple. The central domes, the Dome of Harmony and the Dome of Peace, welcome all seekers of solace and tranquility. Inside, the devotees greeted by 8 idols, symbolizing the foundational values of Sanatan Dharma. The temple in Abu Dhabi houses 7 shrines, each dedicated to different deities hailing from Bharat's north, east, west and south. Lord Ram and Sita, Lord Hanuman, Lord Shiva and Parvati, Ganesh and Kartik, Lord Jagannath, Lord Krishna and Radha, Lord Tirupati Balaji and Lord Ayyappa. A vibrant cultural hub offering exhibitions, learning areas, sports facilities and thematic gardens for visitors to explore and engage heritage. Committed to sustainability, the temple utilizes fly ash and eco-friendly materials in its construction, ensuring a minimal carbon footprint while maintaining structural integrity. Open to people of all faiths, the BAPS Swaminarayan Temple in the United Arab Emirates invites everyone to experience Hindu culture and spirituality, fostering understanding and harmony in a world of diversity. With Akshita Nandagopal in Abu Dhabi, Bureau Report, India Today.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of To The Point. I'm Gaurav Sawant and the point today is the Pran Pratishtha at this Divya Bhavya temple in Abu Dhabi. You're looking at Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Pran Pratishtha and the inauguration of the temple spread across 27 acres in Abu Dhabi. Now this is a temple that actually is a testimony to not just the strength of the Sanatan Dharma, but also religious harmony in the United Arab Emirates. This is a temple that symbolizes religious harmony. We're showing you these images as Prime Minister Narendra Modi walks around, and what a magnificent view of that temple in Abu Dhabi. And this is on prime property. This is on the main arterial road between Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Initially, 2 acres of land was given elsewhere by His Highness Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the president of Abu Dhabi. 2 acres of land was given elsewhere. Then it was increased by another 3 acres. So the initial plan was to build a temple across 5 acres of land, then 13.5 acres, and then in 2017 that was increased to 27 acres, and not on one of the inner roads but the main arterial road where the 3.5 million Indian diaspora living in the United Arab Emirates, they could come and worship, whether they were living in Dubai or living in Abu Dhabi or any other part. Now, the images that you see on your television screen, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is being taken for a Divya Darshan around this 27-acre complex. This is truly something that symbolizes harmony in a region that's otherwise seeing a lot of trouble. If you were to talk about what's happening between Israel and Hamas, not very far, well, there is turmoil there. If you look at the Russia-Ukraine conflict, there is turmoil there. There's turmoil in several other parts of the world, but the images that you see on your television screen, that's a testimony of religious harmony and how. Let me just give you some details about that religious harmony on your television screen that you see. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, of course, at the moment praying at various deities, including. Okay, so let's listen into the chanting of Ved mantras on ground right now. Shanti Redhi.
भगवान के आशीर्वाद पाने के लिए, अपनी प्रार्थनाओं की परिपूर्ति के लिए और आत्मा की शुद्धि के लिए भगवान की मूर्ति पर अभिषेक करने की भारतवर्ष की प्राचीन परंपरा रही है। उसके अनुसार भगवान स्वामी नारायण की मूर्ति पर जलाभिषेक करके ब्रह्म स्वरूप गुरुवर्यों के आशीर्वाद माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री प्राप्त कर रहे हैं।
So the Prime Minister has prayed in front of various deities at this temple. A Muslim king donated land for a Hindu mandir where the lead architect is a Catholic Christian, the project manager a Sikh, the foundational designer a Buddhist, construction company a Parsi group, and the director comes from the Jain tradition. This is a message of religious harmony that goes across the world. Akshita Nand Gopal, my colleague, joins me for more on this story. Akshita, this is more than just a Hindu temple. This is a place of harmony as we look at these images of Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacting with the diaspora at this temple who've actually assembled here in large numbers. The hall that can take 10,000, of course, I believe today just has about 2,500 VVIPs, Akshita.
Very true, Gaurav. It's a very special moment, history really that's been made here, scripted in UAE, in Abu Dhabi. And of course, I'm fortunate enough to be here as well to witness this beautiful moment. And we saw some of those scenes really of how the Prime Minister, with so much reverence, really steeped completely in devotion, made his way into the temple, took part in all of the Artis, the pushpanjali as well that happened. And each prayer, each mantra that was chanted, Gaurav, had huge significance as well. You know, when you come out of the temple, the carvings that the Prime Minister was looking at, it talks about the story of what it's taken to ensure a temple in the desert sands of Abu Dhabi, in the desert sands of UAE. And then, of course, you have also the Prime Minister expected to come out right now, any moment now, by the way. He's expected there, and I'm going to get you those live images as well in just a bit, where the Prime Minister is going to be interacting with artisans. He's going to be also, in fact, talking to little children. Any moment now, the Prime Minister's be there. I'll just cut across, Gaurav. I'm just going to walk across to the other end where the Prime Minister will be. The first images right now, there you have it, with, in fact, Brahm Vihari Das. You've got the Prime Minister getting a sense of all of the carvings here as well. There you have what the Prime Minister is looking at right now is the plaque that's been put up that says that the land that's been given for this temple has been donated by, in fact, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed. And the Prime Minister taking a moment to wave to the media contingent here as well. He's going to be, in fact, walking out and interacting with little children who are here, and they're all ready for their moment, in fact, in the sun. You can see the Prime Minister walking towards them right now, and let's get you these images. Here's where the Prime Minister is coming to meet these children, all of them beaming right now, all smiles, as in fact the Prime Minister is coming towards them to also say a quick hello. These are the children who I spoke to earlier, who are all in fact been working overtime to be a part of this temple construction. How? You've got, in fact, Brahm Bihari Das explaining exactly that to, in fact, Prime Minister Modi, saying that on those marbles, they all, in fact, carved. The Prime Minister waving to all of the media contingent here as well. As he's walking by, you can see right there, the Prime Minister also meeting with the artisans. And these are the men who worked so hard on making this temple become a reality. He's taking his time with a pranam. He's greeting each one of the people sitting there. Many of them have come from Rajasthan. There are many who have come from Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, from Tamil Nadu, from Kerala, from Maharashtra as well. So it looks like he's going to be going in there and also indulging in a brief photo op. He's going to be sitting with them for a photo because for them, of course, it's a huge, huge moment in their lives. Okay, so brief interaction with them, and the Prime Minister is now making his way to all of the women who are sitting there. These are women volunteers who played a huge role also in bringing this temple to life. So he's going to be meeting them briefly, and all the people who have played a significant role in ensuring this moment comes to life there. The Prime Minister is saying a quick hello to.
No, Akshita, what is remarkable, these little children that the Prime Minister spent some time with, these little children did car seva for the temple, and when they were doing car seva, when you spoke to these children, when our colleague Anjana spoke to these children, they said they gave up pizza, they gave up coke, they gave up chocolates, they gave up television and mobile phones while they were doing car seva. That's remarkable for a period of 1 year, because they were involved in the task of this temple construction. That's the next generation being, reunited with their roots, reconnecting with roots. Akshita.
Very, very true, Gaurav. You've put it beautifully there. That's all of them reconnected with their roots and being a part, such an intrinsic part really in this tradition of bringing this temple to life. When we spoke to them, they're saying that every Sunday, on days when in fact they didn't have school, they'd spend their time here at this temple site doing everything they can to help in constructing the temple. You can hear chants of Bharat Mata Ki Jai here, in fact, right next to the temple there. The Prime Minister also carving. Those are pictures of the Prime Minister also attempting to carve. It's taken this kind of handiwork, Gaurav, to make this beautiful temple. He's witnessed the carvings. So now he said, let me try my hand at it. You can see him also with a hammer and chisel chipping away at, in fact, the sandstone that's been put up there. So you've got the Prime Minister trying his hand at a bit of carving and walking out. There you have the delegation from the United Arab Emirates there with the Prime Minister. He's saying a quick hello to them. They've been brought in from the other side. They've been waiting, in fact, on the sidelines, waiting for the Arti to get over very respectfully. And this picture, Gaurav, speaks volumes of exactly what you spoke of religious harmony, of this being a huge moment also for India and UAE. So, in fact, as we get you all of these pictures, the Prime Minister jokingly also meeting with the delegation. Amazing bonhomie, really, that we're repeatedly witnessing between him and his UAE brothers, as he calls them. He refers to, in fact, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Highness repeatedly as my brother. Even yesterday at the Elan Modi event, every time he referred to His Highness, he said, my brother Mohammed bin Zayed. And you've got the Prime Minister there interacting very, very closely with all of them walking through. This picture essentially, Gaurav, sums up what we've achieved with this kind of a temple coming up in Abu Dhabi, of religious harmony, as you said, of different cultures coming together, celebrating our differences.
Absolutely.
That's what this temple
Akshita,
is all
stay
about.
with me for a moment as we look at these images of Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacting with the Indian delegation, with the brothers from the United Arab Emirates. I also want to bring into this conversation Professor Trivedi, who joins us on this broadcast. Professor Trivedi is at this temple right now. And Professor Trivedi, why is this Pran Pratishtha so significant, not just for Hindus in Abu Dhabi, but across the world. Explain this excitement as we wait to hear Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
I'd like to, well, first of all, thank you for having me on with you to share this story, this magical moment with your viewers back in India. Now, I'd like to start with a historical lesson, if I may. Hindus have been a part of this region for about 450 years, and never before have they had a traditional stone Hindu mandir where they can pray, do puja, engage in darshan of the murtis, and practice and celebrate the festivals and rituals of Hindu Sanatan Dharma. So, I mean, this is the first time this is happening, and I think that in itself answers your question as to why this is such a magical, special moment for Hindus here in the UAE, but also for Hindus around the world.
Okay. And that image that we see on our television screen, Prime Minister Narendra Modi chipping away at that piece of stone which says Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or the world is one family. Ayam nij paroveti ganana laghu chetasam udar charitanam tu Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. But Professor Saab, describe the atmosphere around you. It almost appears as if this is a festival in Abu Dhabi, just ahead of Prime Minister now interacting with the Indian community, the 3.5 million representatives of the 3.5 million strong Pravasi Bharatiya at the auditorium here.
Gee, so I am from New York, and I've been to 70 countries as a scholar of media and religion in the past. And I take every single opportunity to visit a Hindu mandir when I go to a new country. Never before, and I've probably seen 1,200 or 1,300 mandirs in my life, never before have I seen a mandir where two Sanskritis come together. There is this sangam, there is this union. And the word that I hear around campus from the youngest 5-year-old child that I speak to some of the senior most swamis that are here, harmony. There is this coming together of Arabic civilization and our Sanatan Hindu civilization, and you can see it in the architecture. So, for example, as you walk around the mandir, you've been to many mandirs, I'm sure, you see there's an homage paid to elephants always, because before we had cranes and machineries, these elephants were helping us build the mandirs. They were carrying the stones and lifting them and placing them in the right place. So there's always this sort of homage that we pay to elephants. In the same way, you will see kamars or lotuses always. You will always see peacocks. These are sort of the flora and fauna and animals that we've celebrated in Hindu Sanskriti in the carvings of these mandirs. For the first time, as you walk around the outer wall or the mandover of the mandir, you will see camels, you will see oryx, you will see other parts of Arabic Sanskriti, even the aesthetic designs. You will see that all of that has sort of been brought in to the architecture. It's embedded in the stone for generations to come. As you walk around, you will also see universal lessons that one can learn from ancient civilizations of the world. So the Mayan Sanskriti, the Aztec Sanskriti, the Inuit Sanskriti, even from some of the tribes in Africa. So that sort of coming together, that sort of a sangam with the Bhavya Hindu Sanatan Sanskriti is, I think, what really sets this mandir apart.
Oh, that's so beautifully described, because some of the devotees we were speaking to, they seem to indicate that this is a temple that's built on the foundation of harmony. And there is this wall of harmony at this temple too. Is harmony perhaps the biggest message that goes out? I mean, yes, we know about temples, but that's amazing that you say that along with elephants at temples here, you also see camels at temples. So it's the Sanatan Sanskriti and the Arab Sanskriti coming together, sir.
Yeah, our Guru, His Holiness Mahant Swami Maharaj, always says this mandir is not just built of stone. I mean, and you have to see it. When you're here next and your viewers are here, I invite all of you to come see it. You have to see it for yourself. Nothing I say today will capture the aesthetic beauty of this mandir. But even in that, our Guru reminds us that this mandir is not just built of stone. It's built on these foundational principles of love, tolerance, and harmony. And you can see that in the way when you walk around, you will see people of Arabic background, you will see Emirati sheikhs, you will see Hindus from around the world who have gathered. And so that harmony is not just seen or talked about in some press interview, but it's seen in the stones and the architecture, but also in the conversations that you will have with the people who have come here to celebrate the Mandir.
Indeed, and now we're looking at images of Prime Minister Narendra Modi arriving at that place where he's interacting with the Shilpis who were involved in the construction of the temple. This temple symbolizes the warm ties between Bharat and the United Arab Emirates. Now, as we talk about this, describe to us the role played, one, by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the President of the United Arab Emirates, His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, apparently from 2 acres of land that were initially earmarked to 27 acres. It just shows they opened their home and their heart for this temple, sir.
First and foremost, one has to acknowledge the generosity of the rulers of this land. I mean, how else would you get such a prime piece of land, a property placed right on a highway, right between Dubai and Abu Dhabi? So it's central in its location where people can reach it from either side. It started off with something that was going to be just 2.5 acres, and then 5 acres, and then 12.5 acres, and then we're somewhere around between 26 and 27 acres now in total. So that generosity, that sort of vision that the rulers of this land have had cannot be overlooked. In fact, it needs to be celebrated as much as we are celebrating the inauguration of this temple here today. And hand in hand with that, one has to acknowledge that Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India has played an integral role because of his relationship with the rulers here in this land. And so the conversations that he's had, the sort of trust he's put in the Hindu community to sort of say, I'm going to ask for a piece of land from the rulers here, and I trust you, and specifically BAPS in particular, BAPS Swaminarayan Mandir, and the trust the Prime Minister has put into the leaders of the organization in designing and conceptualizing and now completing and inaugurating this mandir is no small thing. So again, that theme of harmony is not something that's just talked about. It's seen here in every step, in every sort of sense of the way.
Okay. Very recently, on the 22nd of January, we saw the Pran Pratishtha at the Divya Bhavya Navya Ram temple at Ayodhya. And now this Hindu temple here at Abu Dhabi. Is the younger generation, is Gen Z reconnecting with our roots? Is it rekindling that fire of faith?
That is one way to look at it. The other way that I look at it is that it's a rekindling of a sense of faith. You have to realize, where else will you find a Hindu mandir where the land is gifted by an Islamic ruler?
True.
Just listen very carefully. The land is gifted by an Islamic ruler. The chief architect is a Catholic. The foundation designer is a Buddhist, and I can keep going on and on. The project manager is a Sikh. So that sort of coming together, that confluence of people, is something that has really made this mandir happen. Now, it goes without saying that Hindu Sanatan Dharma is you said a flame or a fire. I think of it in the Sanskrit word, the jyot, is something that is vibrant, that is happening and inspiring people, not just in the UAE, not just in India, but around the world. And so where I live in America, there were massive celebrations for the Ram Mandir. Where I'm here now in the UAE, I'm seeing massive celebrations for the BAPS Hindu Mandir's inauguration. And we see that Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended both of them. So he is an integral part of this. Of course, no one is going to overlook that. We cannot sort of forget to mention that. But also the idea of bhakti, the idea of seva, the sort of foundations of Hindu Sanatan Dharma cannot be overlooked. And most importantly, every bhakta that is gathered here today, every believer who has gathered here today, every humanitarian who has gathered here today has to be celebrated in that same way, because their contributions cannot be overlooked as well.
You know, there's another message that goes out of here perhaps. When we look at the churn that's going on in parts of the region, in parts of Europe, in the same region or around the same region in West Asia, you see this this grand temple at Abu Dhabi. Sir, does this not stand out as a symbol of peaceful coexistence of peace and harmony?
If you look just not too far from here, there are massive conflicts going on, things that have shaken us as humans and just humanity at the core. And this mandir, just a few hundred kilometers away from there, now stands as a beacon of peace, tolerance, and harmony. I believe that people who will come here and visit, who will have darshan of the murtis, who will sort of bask in the aesthetic architecture and the beauty of the mandir, will come to realize that there is this feeling. I cannot explain to you because you're not here. It's something everyone has to feel. You step on the land and you feel this sense of harmony. You feel the sense of acceptance. You feel the sense of celebration of Hindu Sanatan Dharma that is at once respectful of all other religions and faiths. And that is something that I hope that all of your viewers will come to appreciate and come to experience for themselves when they travel to Abu Dhabi next.
And what we also heard was the Shanti part that was going on, and perhaps that is the need of the hour, where there is Shanti or peace all around. For joining me here on this special broadcast, Professor Trivedi, many thanks. Akshita Nandgopal, my colleague, stays with me. We slip into a quick break, but back with the headlines and our top stories. And in a moment from now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi perhaps would be addressing the diaspora and the world from Abu Dhabi. That story and lots more coming up. Stay with us here on India Today.
Joining us here in India Today. You're here in Abu Dhabi. What brings you here? You've seen the temple, you told me.
Beautiful, incredible temple. I've come here many times before. I've had the opportunity, the good fortune to do seva in this mandir while it was being constructed. But every time I come, it fills me with new joy. And BAPS, the organization that has built this, has done this seva at 1,200 places in the world. But I have to say that in the desert sun, the way this shines, it's a shining example of a bridge between two countries, to religions, to people. The government of UAE, His Highness the Sheikh, they have to be commended, they have to be appreciated for the largeness of heart, for their generosity, for their contribution towards this mandir and to make it a reality along with Modi ji.
I know you're not a foreign affairs expert or a strategic expert, but I have to ask you, what do you think is the significance? Great. What do you think is the significance of having this kind of a massive temple in the UAE, in the Middle East?
Well, it has multiple significances. I think one is a cultural significance. Our cultures have been connected for hundreds of years. We've had trade, we've enjoyed relationships. We never translated them into political relationships. The last decade has been exceptional in the translation and the growth of a very strong political bond between our countries, between the UAE and India. The UAE is a great entry point into all of the Middle East. I think that this has already started redefining the relationship between India and the Middle East. So I think it has multiple significances, and this stands as a shining example.
I'm going to have you on my show the next time as a guest, but thank you very much. Thank you.
23 साल होने जा रहे हैं। मैंने 13 साल भारत के एक बड़े स्टेट गुजरात की सरकार में रहते हुए लोगों की सेवा की है, और अब मुझे सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट में देशवासियों की सेवा करते हुए 10 साल होने जा रहे हैं। मैं मानता हूं कि सरकार का अभाव भी नहीं होना चाहिए और सरकार का दबाव भी नहीं होना चाहिए, बल्कि मैं तो ये मानता हूं कि लोगों की जिंदगी में सरकार का दखल कम से कम हो, ये सुनिश्चित करना भी सरकार का ही काम है। हम अक्सर कई एक्सपर्ट्स को सुनते हैं कि कोविड के बाद दुनिया भर में सरकारों पर भरोसा कम हुआ है।
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
अबू धाबी में आप लोगों ने नया इतिहास रच दिया है। आप लोग यूएई के कोने कोने से आए हैं और भारत के भी अलग अलग राज्यों से आए हैं। लेकिन सबके दिल जुड़े हुए हैं। इस ऐतिहासिक स्टेडियम में हर धड़कन कह रही है, भारत यूएई दोस्ती जिंदाबाद। हर सांस कह रही है, भारत यूएई दोस्ती जिंदाबाद। हर आवाज कह रही है, भारत यूएई। आप में से जो लोग बीते दिनों भारत गए, वो जानते हैं कि आज भारत में कितनी तेजी से बदलाव आ रहा है। आज भारत एक से बढ़कर एक आधुनिक एक्सप्रेस वे बना रहा है। आज भारत एक से बढ़कर एक नए एयरपोर्ट बनवा रहा है। आज भारत एक से बढ़कर एक नए रेलवे स्टेशन बनवा रहा है। आज भारत की पहचान नए आइडियाज, नए इनोवेशंस की वजह से बन रही है।
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 25 and minimum 10 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 28 and minimum 22 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 31 and minimum 17 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 30 and minimum 19 degrees. Chennai, maximum 28 and minimum 25 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 32 and minimum 19 degrees.
Presented by Arti Sanjeev Goenka Group, Growing Legacies.
Co-presented by Century Laminates by Manish Malhotra, fashion for your furniture.
Co-presented by
New Kia Sonet, the wild reborn.
Co-presented by
Macho Hand, bade aaram se.
Co-powered by
The bold look of Kohler.
It's a festival of harmony at the United Arab Emirates. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Abu Dhabi. The images that you see on your television screen, the Pran Pratishtha that took place at the Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi, the prayers, the Vedic mantrocharan, and after that, it's the festival of harmony. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi is there, and we'll show you those images, multiple images that you see on your television screen. You also have the spiritual head of the BAPS Mahant Swami Maharaj Ji. You also have Sadhu Brahma Bihari Das, who I'm told was a part of this entire project from the time that it was conceptualized on paper, or perhaps even before it was put to paper, from their minds to the fact that a Divya Bhavya temple now stands tall at Abu Dhabi. You also have the Minister of Tolerance of the United Arab Emirates government who is there. We'll show you those images as you look at a Divya Bhavya ceremony that's just been concluded of the Pran Pratishtha and the Arti. And incidentally, an Arti that was simultaneous across 1,500 BAPS temples across the world. And that shows you perhaps just a glimpse of the power of the Sanatan Dharma. I'm Gaurav Sawant. We get you all details on the news track. This divinity, deities and diplomacy in West Asia is our top focus story. But first, as always, the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Middle East's largest Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi. The BAPS Mandir marks a significant moment for the Sanatan Dharma followers in UAE, as well as for the bilateral relationship between India and the UAE. Women of Sandesh Khali in West Bengal narrate tales of horror, rape and torture. Accuse TMC leader Sheikh Shah Jahan and his men of abducting and raping women and assaulting men. Farmers remain on the war path. Violent clashes continue at Delhi's borders. Centre urges dialogue. Round 3 of talks tomorrow at 5 p.m. Politics over farmers' protests escalate. Rahul Gandhi's MSP guarantee backfires. India Today accesses a 2010 reply which reveals that the Congress party had actually rejected the recommendations of the Swaminarayan report. Five-time Lok Sabha MP Sonia Gandhi set to enter parliament through the Rajya Sabha route. She's filed a nomination from Rajasthan today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Abu Dhabi. He is at the BAPS Mandir right now. He'll be addressing the Indian diaspora in just a short while from now. But before that, let me take you through some of the defining moments of this monument to Modi's Middle East dosti. Prime Minister Narendra Modi offered prayers at the Swaminarayan temple. The Prime Minister participated in the first Arti at the BAPS temple. Incidentally, this Arti was conducted simultaneously across 1,500 BAPS temples across the world. The Prime Minister also took part in the symbolic Ganga Arti at the temple premises. The temple has a Varanasi-like ghat with holy waters from rivers Ganga, Yamuna and the mythical Saraswati. Prime Minister was welcomed with special garlands as he entered the temple premises. He was welcomed by seers of the BAPS and representatives of the UAE government. BAPS Mandir chief priest ties a sacred red thread or kalava on the Prime Minister's wrist. This as sacred Vedic mantras echo across the temple. The Prime Minister reached the BAPS Mandir ahead of the grand inauguration ceremony and took a tour of the largest Hindu mandir in West Asia. And I quickly want to cut across to India today's Akshita Nandagopal, who is on ground zero. She is witnessing this divinity with that magnificent temple in the backdrop. And Akshita, the story of the 7 shikhars behind you, this Divya Bhavya temple, it truly must be a divine feeling being there. Akshita, take it away.
I mean, pictures quite simply don't do justice, Gaurav. We found a vantage point from which you get the most beautiful view yet of the temple, and it really comes alive in the night with all the lights here shining upon the temple, highlighting each minute detail of the carving. This is truly, truly a sight to behold right now. It shows the amount of love, care that's gone into making this temple. You know, repeatedly we've spoken to Gaurav about how this temple has come up literally in the middle of nowhere in what was once a sandy desert area of Abu Dhabi. Now this tall temple stands here, and you can see that it's so beautiful. It's an architectural marvel, there's no doubt about it. But let me explain to you how difficult also it must have been to actually get this temple together. I'm not sure how much I can show you, but I just want to show you the skyline here of how there's nothing around here but desert land. And in the middle of that, this kind of a significant, massive temple that's come up. The fact that they got it done in just about 5 years is astounding, to say the least, Gaurav. I'm sure you can't get enough of this view as well. Let me take you down and I'll show you one significant part. This is the area in which, in fact, you had the Prime Minister coming as well. Now, when the Prime Minister walked by here and you had all the artisans seated here, he made his way to one point of this temple where he also attempted to carve on the stone. There was a writing of Vasudeva Kutumbakam on it. Let me show you what really that looks like also. I'm just going to make my way through, bear with me, because people are walking by right now. But these are the pictures right now, and let me just show you what the sandstone looks like. This is the massive block of stone. This is the massive block of stone that was placed here where the Prime Minister also stood. He attempted to carve on it. Vasudeva Kutumbakam written on it is this edge that the Prime Minister essentially also was seen symbolically carving away. It's the same stone that's been used across the temple. It's the same sandstone that is there that makes up this beautiful temple. And it's this view at this point where the Prime Minister, soon after the carving on that single piece of stone, also met with the UAE delegation, posed for a photo up here, and you can get a sense of what a beautiful image it would have been with this mandir on the backdrop from this point. So that is the carving stone on which the Prime Minister attempted to carve using a hammer and a chisel, and then made his way through, interacted with all of the artisans. He saw the carvings behind me and then attempted to do it himself to understand how truly difficult and what a challenge it is, and how much it takes for each artisan involved in this to actually carve out any bit on the stone, all handmade, Gaurav. And that was, I think,
all shipped from India. Akshita, stay with me as I bring in our guests on this special broadcast. Akshita, feel free to come in through the course of this broadcast. I have Radhika Shukla, a part of the Swaminarayan Sanstha, a volunteer there who joins us on this special broadcast. I have Dushyant Sridhar, a Vedic scholar, writer who joins us from Bengaluru, and Ambassador Veena Sikri, former top diplomat. Ambassador Sikri will give us a diplomatic perspective on the Prime Minister's visit and the message it sends across. But Radhika Shukla, सबसे पहले मेरा प्रश्न आप ही से होगा, इसे उत्सव बताया जा रहा है, फेस्टिवल ऑफ हार्मनी, लेकिन क्या कितना परिश्रम लगा ये दिव्य भव्य मंदिर जो आज बनकर तैयार है? क्या इसकी कल्पना थी कि ये हो पाएगा? कई बार तो ये कहा गया संभवतः बन नहीं पाएगा.
जी बिल्कुल, जो आपको प्रश्न लग रहा है वो सेम 1997 में जब अक्षरधाम के जो रचयिता थे प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज, वो ऐसे ही अपने अविरत विचरण के दौरे पे निकले थे यूएई के रेगिस्तान में। वहाँ पे शारजाह के रेगिस्तान में वो वहाँ पे थोड़े से हरिभक्तों के साथ पहुँचे थे और उस रेगिस्तान में उन्होंने 4 प्रार्थनाएं की थी, जिसमें से पहली प्रार्थना थी कि यहाँ पे और सभी विश्व के सभी देशों के बीच में शांति प्रस्थापित हो। दूसरी प्रार्थना उन्होंने ये की थी कि सभी देशों के बीच, सभी धर्मों के बीच परस्पर मैत्री और सुहृद भाव का संचार हो। तीसरी प्रार्थना उन्होंने ये की थी कि परस्पर जो देशों के बीच शत्रुता बढ़ रही है तो उससे वो देश मुक्त हो जाए और सभी का पूर्ण